name is Caitlin Dawson, and I will be discussing how I believe that America should create an extra tax on high-fat foods and sugary foods to cut down on the rate of obesity. According to a study done by Better Policies for a Healthy America, it is reported that 34.9% of adults were obese and 68.6% were overweight. And a major influence affecting these exceeding amounts of obesity are the fatty foods taken in daily by our population. It is a known fact that organic food purchased from a standard grocery store is typically more expensive than that of junk food or high-fat foods, which makes the issue even more prevalent. There are measures that can be taken that will decrease the amount of obese adults and children in America, and one simple solution is to add an extra tax to high-fat foods and lower prices of organically grown foods. I understand that it is impossible to lower prices extremely for organic foods because it goes into the details of pay to farmers and etc. However, a slight decrease in price for healthy foods and an increased price for junk food will encourage a large amount of Americans to choose something different to consume. Today, I'll be discussing medical factors regarding the topic, opposing viewpoints on the tax, and simple alternatives for the issue of obesity. First off, it's understood that high-fat and sugary foods is appealing to the majority of people, and there is a medical explanation for those cravings. According to the article, How Food Addiction Works, when a person intakes food, it sets off a physiological feeling of a reward system. When people eat, then the brain sees it as a reward by meeting basic needs for living. When your brain recognizes a reward system occurring, it releases a receptor in the brain called dopamine. When dopamine is released, it causes a feeling of happiness and satisfaction. People are to believe that only sugary or junk food causes the dopamine release because they are conditioned to think so. They have felt that satisfaction so many times that it seems simple to eat things such as ice cream when they're looking for a simple pickup. However, all foods, including homegrown vegetables and fruits, will trigger that release just in smaller doses. Americans are so hooked on the feeling that they receive after eating junk food that other foods don't cause as much satisfaction. If sugary and fatty foods became more expensive, parents or caregivers could stray away from purchasing those foods and even introducing them to children whose taste buds are still developing. If it's never introduced, the desire is never there. On a different medically related side of the topic, the intake of junk food or unhealthy meals clearly will have a negative side effect on the body for both children and adults. Going back to what I said about reducing exposure of junk food to children right from the beginning, a database on pediatric obesity solidifies that argument to the fullest. The database journal stated that when a child is exposed to high sugar foods and drinks from an early age, they're setting themselves up for an unhealthy lifestyle. When a child becomes obese at a young age, their body is becoming predisposed for insulin rejection, which is the leading cause of diabetes. The number of children with diabetes in America is rapidly increasing, and the foods we are providing them is a direct link. Children are becoming addicted to juice boxes instead of water, fruit roll-ups instead of fruit, and so on. And we are setting them up for a very hard life that they will pay consequences for with things such as diabetes and obesity. It's a sad topic because it could be easily prevented from the beginning. When people are less encouraged to purchase junk food, the hopes for them is to choose fruit over snacks, water over juice, and hopefully to make America and our children healthy again. What always follows a controversial topic such as this would be the opposing viewpoint. An argument that I found would be that a slight tax increase wouldn't be enough of a difference to strike any recognition when shopping for groceries. There is a percentage of people who believe that $1 added to any item of junk food or high-fat item wouldn't sway a person away from purchasing them. However, the amount of families and adults living in poverty in America leads me to believe otherwise. Feeding America did a study on the number of families or single-person homes who are living under the poverty line, and the results are astonishing. The results of the study reported that 48.4 million Americans as of 2014 were living below the poverty line, and it stated that the number is rapidly growing year after year. For the purpose of these statistics, I believe that if a parent who is a part of that percentage is shopping for groceries for his or her children, she would most definitely take in that extra tax into consideration. The results would be hopefully that the parent would walk away from high sugar foods and decide on something healthier. If a family is using government assistance, such as EBT, hopefully they would choose to spend the money provided on nutritional food to put on the table, rather than spending an outrageous amount of money on unhealthier options. Found in an academic journal about nutritional knowledge for adults and children in the South, it stated that obesity and socioeconomic issues have a direct connection. Those who receive food stamps or who have incomes below the federal poverty line had to spend their money on those of nutritional value. The second argument that could come from the policy would be those who believe in little government regulation. After reading many arguments from debate.org, where people can openly and safely express their views on controversial topics. It showed that there are a large percentage of Americans who would be against this tax solely due to the fact that they don't believe that the government should have any control on the foods that they're purchasing and consuming in their homes. As I can respect that view because I too believe in little government regulation, I believe that this tax would be less control rather than trying to improve the health of American people. The tax wouldn't be a direct hit on anybody who is considered obese, and the purpose isn't to control what foods people eat. It would be to motivate people to become more educated on choosing healthier meals or even on how to grow their own meals in their own backyards. It could improve the lives of many Americans if they choose healthier meals, and I believe that an extra tax could really have an impact on the amount of junk food or fatty food purchased. There are many options that a person has for inexpensive food when they're trying to provide a meal for their family. It's simpler to grab a TV tray dinner and pop it in the microwave, but is that really the nutrition or food that you would want a child growing up on? Education on the topic and learning the repercussions of sugar and fat intake are what American citizens need to understand why they should choose an apple over a bag of chips. In the long run, I believe schools and government programs should educate people on the benefits of growing their own food or simply choosing organic over processed. Most don't understand the amount of preservatives and fillers that are placed in everyday foods to be consumed, when there are healthier options just as available. However, in short-term views, the extra tax on junk food would be able to begin the process of creating a healthier country. Today we reviewed how junk food and sugary juices were the leading cause to obesity in children and adults, and also about economic factors considered when purchasing foods for a family. I also discussed opposing views such as government involvement and the effectiveness of the tax, and lastly about different choices to eating healthier and providing nutritional meals. I hope you all consider the idea of the tax, and for now begin thinking about what food you're supplying for yourself and the effects that it could be having on your body and on your wallet. I hope you all enjoyed my presentation on junk food tax. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions?
Sure. What do you plan to do with the funds that you make off of the tax?
In my opinion, I would use it to provide for educational programs in schools to teach children and adults on how to grow their own food so that they can choose healthier meals in the long run.
Question.
Yeah.
Do you think the money that individuals who use the EBT should be limited to the things that they're allowed to purchase to just be healthy choices? Do you think that would be beneficial?
I do, just as programs as WIC, they have a very structured limit of foods that they're allowed to buy, only healthy food. I think EBT should be the same way so that they're kind of given the choice to only purchase healthy foods to provide for their family. Any other questions? No? Thank you so much.